How's it going, everyone? Welcome back to another video. My name is Venture, and today we have the TIE Fighter and X-Wing Mashup set. This set was released on August the 1st, 2024 and has a retail price of $109.99 USD. It is given set number 75393. It is rated for ages 9 and up and has 1,063 pieces, which means that this is a 10-cent per piece set. This set is part of the Rebuild the Galaxy series. Indicators for that are the logo here in the corner, as well as the rainbow greebling that surrounds the box. Now, the primary play feature is actually shown on the front of the box with this little picture here, and on the back of the box you get to see a little bit more in depth of how it actually works. Opening up the box is quite an easy experience. You simply push in these two tabs here and pull to reveal the contents of your box. Inside of your box, you will find 8 numbered bags. You will also find 1 sticker sheet. And lastly, you have 2 separate instruction manuals. And here we have the final product. I think these look pretty good. They're nothing too different than what we've gotten in the past. But first, let's go ahead and look at the figures. So the first of our minifigures is this Rebel pilot. Now, he isn't too different from some of the other Rebel pilots we have seen in the past, but this one is unique to this set. He does come with a secondary face print. He also does come with the usual back printing. Here we have what the community has dubbed the McDonald's astromech droid, even though this is clearly the Lego colors as well. This droid's name is L3GO. It's literally Lego. Now, I can see where people are coming from, but it's clearly meant to invoke the Lego logo colors, and even the name Lego. It's a unique astromech. I like it. Here we have Yessi Scala. I'm assuming that this character is from the Rebuild the Galaxy series, so I don't know a whole lot about her. But I really like her torso printing as well as her toe printing. She also does come with a secondary face print, and she does have some relatively detailed back printing. And this minifigure, I kid you not, is called Sig Greebling. Now, I do like this figure. I feel like he gives like explorer type vibes, and I think that's pretty cool. He also comes with a secondary face print, and he does have a small amount of back printing. And here we have our TIE Pilot minifigure. I do like the TIE Pilot minifigures. I feel like they've gotten a lot better over the years for sure. And here's what the face looks like underneath the helmet. And you guessed it, it also has some back printing. Alright, so now let's talk about this TIE Fighter. There's quite a few details to go over, so let's start with the first detail. For our first feature, we have the spring-loaded missiles. There are 2 of them for some extra action. Our next play feature is going to be opening the cockpit and placing a minifigure of your choice inside. Of course, I'm going to go with the TIE Pilot. It's incredibly easy to do. Now, one of the biggest changes that they made to this TIE Fighter is going to be this top section here. So first they got rid of the dome piece, and then they got rid of it being printed. So you get these slant pieces that you have to place stickers onto, which is a little frustrating. But to make up for how ugly the top is, the front is absolutely beautiful looking. And the back of the TIE Fighter is no exception. It is also perfect looking. Again, there's more stickers on the back here and here. Personally, I'm not a fan of stickers, although I am an adult and they're much easier for me to do. But for a child to line these up perfectly is going to be a lot more difficult, and just for ease of use, I think they should print pieces moving forward. Here we have the wings of the TIE Fighter. They are extremely similar to a lot of the different TIE Fighters we've gotten over the years. Nothing too special there. Towards the center of the wing, we actually do have a printed piece, surprisingly enough. It's just a really nice detail to have in the center of the wing. Alright, now it's time to talk about the X-Wing. It is a new design from quite a few different aspects, so first let's go ahead and dive into the different play features of this. First up, you do have a slot for the astromech to slide into right above the cockpit. Now, my one critique about this is going to be he sticks out a lot, and those panels on the side don't really cover up the sides of his legs all too well. And of course, it wouldn't be a Star Wars ship if you couldn't place a minifigure within the cockpit. Thankfully, he doesn't have to be laying down to fit. And of course, on each wing is going to be a spring-loaded shooter. Now, this set gives you a lot more landing gear for your X-Wing than your typical one. But that landing gear is necessary if you want to be able to do the mashup mechanic that we'll go over later on in the video. Now, this set uses more traditional hinge styles for the wings rather than the systems we've seen in the past few X-Wings, and that is just due to the fact of, again, the play feature of the mashup. And here are some small features that I've highlighted to show you that I really think look quite nice on this set. I really like how they were able to create that red and white pattern without using stickers. Speaking of stickers, here we have the awful white on white stickers. They look terrible. The engine side of an X-Wing is always going to look absolutely gorgeous. Now here's a cool part usage. They use the chest piece of a mech for the back of the X-Wing, and I think that's perfect. Now here's how the mashup mechanic works. There are 2 pins on the underside of the X-Wing and the TIE Fighter. Pull those out first. Then you simply grab the wings and give it a firm pull, and they should come out nice and clean. You will know you've done it correctly when you have your pieces looking something like this. Once again, on the X-Wing, simply pull these 2 pins out in order to remove the wings. And once again, just give the wings a firm pull and they should come right off. The TIE Fighter is a little bit more difficult to do than the X-Wing. You will know you've done it correctly when you have your pieces laid out and looking something like this. Now it is time for the nightmare fuel. So simply take your TIE Fighter cockpit and put your X-Wing wings together. After you've snapped together your monstrosity, you take your pins and you place them back in the exact same holes you took them out of. And then you can simply repeat the exact same process with your X-Wing monstrosity. Sometimes the wings do fight you just a little bit and it is a little bit annoying, but you should generally be able to get them in there pretty easily. And here you have your monster mashups. These things look like nightmare fuel. But it's a cool concept, I'm not gonna lie. There's no other way to describe these ships other than to say that it just looks wrong, which is pretty much the entire basis of the Rebuild the Galaxy series anyways. It's definitely a pretty fun gimmick to be able to see what they would look like with each other's wings, and I know some of us probably thought that while growing up, like, I wonder what would happen if we combine these two. Well, now you know, and it doesn't look right, it looks wrong. I would like to unsee these. It's a cool gimmick, but how do these 2 fighters compare to the previous iteration we got? So for this comparison section of the video, I have brought along set number 75301 and set number 75300. Firstly, let's go over the minifigures. In this newest set, you get a total of 5 figures. Versus if you combine the other 2 sets, you get a grand total of 7 minifigures, giving the older sets the advantage. I feel like with the older sets, you get a greater diversity of figures in comparison to the newer set. I do feel like the newer set does have the advantage in feeling a little bit more unique of figures, but we'll see which set ends up being on top. Now, these 2 X-Wings are incredibly similar looking in a lot of different aspects. But I gotta hand it to the newer TIE Fighter. I feel like it gives a much better silhouette to an actual TIE Fighter than the older one. Now, the back sections are very, very similar, but some key differences being that the older one looks a lot more detailed. Now, they both have the ability to open the cockpit and place a minifigure inside, and I feel like the older one gives you more room to play around with. Now, when it comes to the design of the wings itself, they're incredibly similar. There are some differences. I just feel like the details are kind of traded off on these particular models. And of course, both of these sets do have 2 spring-loaded shooters per ship. Taking a top-down view, I personally prefer the older one. Now, when it comes to the X-Wing, I'm going to have to say that they look really, really similar. Like, you can obviously tell some differences between these 2 wings, but going back and forth between them, I really couldn't pick out which one I liked better. Now, just due to the landing gear itself, this newer set towers over the previous model. But when it comes to length, they are incredibly similar. There's a lot of shared details between them. Even overall width, they're just incredibly similar. Now, when it comes to activating the wings on the different X-Wings, the older model is much easier, but it is a lot easier to mess it up as well. Now, this newer model, while it does take a little bit more time to actually put into place, it takes a lot more effort to actually mess up the positioning. Another feature that these share are going to be your spring-loaded shooters. They each have 1, 2 on each ship. Honestly, the X-Wings are really the only ship that I know detail-wise aren't really going to change much over the years, and that's perfectly fine. There's definitely some detail differences between these 2 separate models, but not enough to where I feel like it lifts one above the other. They're just 2 different X-Wings, so they're going to have 2 different designs, and I feel like that's completely fair and completely normal. Here's a little graphic I made with kind of like a TLDR too long didn't read type deal. In my personal opinion, if you have the older ones, then you'll be just fine with those. But if you want the new fun play feature of mashing up your X-Wing and TIE Fighter, go ahead and buy the new set. Alright, so what are my thoughts on this set? I think it's a lot of fun. It is kind of cool to mash up the two sets, even though they kind of make a little monster. The builds are super solid, and you can definitely see where they had to make some sacrifices in order to provide the play feature that was intended for this set. But that doesn't mean you get a subpar models. The models you get are really nice, and I almost prefer them in some aspects. The minifigure selection is just about what you would expect with a set like this. You get your Strange Rebuild the Galaxy figures, and then you also just get your standard pilot figures. All in all, I think it's a pretty fun set. Kids are going to love this set. Collectors, you should definitely pick this one up. And anyone who's a hobbyist, this set is actually pretty fun to build, so I do recommend it. It's easy to build, it's fun, it's a great set. I give it an 8 out of 10. But that is all I have to say on this set. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed, and I hope you found this video helpful for your purchasing decisions. If you did enjoy this video or found it helpful, please let me know by leaving a like and hitting that subscribe button. It is a free and great way to support the channel. Let me know your thoughts in the comments section down below, and until next time, stay bricked up and enjoy what you love.